What is going on, guys? We are here with another Overprime video, this time a guide for my wife, the one, the only Adele. I love her so much. I've been playing the crap out of her. We're only on the second day of her release, not even a full 48 hours, I believe, and we have clocked in 18 hours on her as a character. I think we've done about 39 games, so pretty much a crap ton. That is a lot of hours. I've been streaming nonstop. I love her so much. She's just so fun, and honestly, she's pretty broken for plenty of different reasons. I do love this character quite a bit. So yeah, we're gonna go over a guide today for her, kind of get you up to speed on what she's about, and hopefully you guys find some useful information here so that you can play her effectively just as I am. I definitely have been having a blast on her and pretty much dominating all around. I remember when Wukong came out, it was kind of hard to play him and stuff, and like I had to figure him out, but with her, it was, she's hard to play, but it was pretty simple. Um, Nothing too complicated. So I think I'm about to be booted from the game. I hope it doesn't actually kick me. But yeah, anyways, let's go over pretty much what's going on with Adele. I'm going to give a lot of tips at the end of when we're done talking about her abilities so you guys kind of understand a little bit more. We have to go over all of her abilities in general. I'm pretty sure it's going to boot me from the training mode. AFK, sorry. Paying attention to something else. But yeah, I'm gonna go over some tips for her, so just kind of to understand how I play her, because she's not like every other tank really. She kind of is similar, but most tanks have to like wait till the mid game to be really strong, or I guess like the first item. She's kind of the same way. So, but like I said, I've been having a blast. I know people have. I feel like the consensus for most people is that she's not that good, but I'm shocked. I mean, I feel like there's really good players in the game, and if once you figure out how to play her, man, it just, oh man, she feels so good. Full tank. If she has one damage item, she just feels so friggin' good. And her style is amazing. I mean, I love playing as her. I have her skin. Obviously, you can see here. She looks absolutely wonderful. I definitely love this character, and I can't stop playing her. Every time I get solo, I'm just like Adele. I insta lock her. I know where she is on the map, on the character selection. I instantly lock her. Solo or jungle even too. I've been spamming jungle with her. It's a little rough in the jungle, but it's not that bad, honestly. You get your first item, then you get 5 defense items, you're good to go. It's pretty easy. So we're gonna go over everything, every little tech here. And if you guys do enjoy the video, please do drop a like and a subscribe. This update was amazing. I'm very excited for what it's in the future for the karmas and stuff. The karmas were amazing. So I mean, this update is a step in the right direction. I think they definitely need to edit their gold farm still. I think it's still too low. It takes like 45 minutes to get full build usually, maybe 40 minutes depending on how good you do. And that's not like, that's someone who's getting farmed. So I definitely would like to see more full builds. I just think that we need a massive gold increase still. We already got a pretty big one, but we need an even bigger one. So but yeah, like I said, I've been having a blast. So I hope you guys enjoyed this guide. Let's get right into it with Adele. We're probably going to show some gameplay at the end, at least talk over it for the tips, but we're going to go over her abilities. So let's get right into it. So Adele, if you guys don't know, is a tank. She is a tank character, so play her there, obviously in solo or jungle, obviously mostly solo for tanks, but if you want jungle, she is one of the 5 tanks in the game. Honestly, all these tanks are they're pretty good, honestly, but I think she's probably the best one, second best one so far. It's kind of hard, sorry, third best. I think she's better than 7 Rampage, depending on the situation, but I don't think she's as good as Aurora in terms of team fighting, despite her ultimate being amazing. But granted, she can't be countered, and she's not as good as Greystone, in my honest opinion, just because he can frontline a little bit more. But at the same time, they both have really good chase. They both build very similarly, by the way, Greystone and her. They are very similar builds. So, how would I play Adele? How would I build Adele? Or how would I play her, I guess, and we'll go over to build later. Adele, you would take her first ability, your beautiful set. This is the first one you're going to get. Swings a sword that deals 25 magical damage twice to the enemy, and swings the sword once more to deal true damage equal to 7% of the target's max health. So 7% at level 1. If the third sword attack hits the enemy hero, recovers 4% of the caster's max health and 4% of the caster's max mana. If the third sword hits hits a non-hero enemy, deals up to 90 damage. Sorry, I'm tired. I'm like reading things in a slur. So it's 2 solid hits. 2 solid hits right into the last hit. So TLDR, do not worry about hitting with the last hit, or hitting the first two. Only worry about the last ones. You can move while you're using it. It is an AoE for the first two, so even if you're away from them, you will hit them. Literally, you know, spin the whip. I love her designs, by the way. It looks amazing. Anyways, only worry about hitting the last one. Now, a big tech, a lot of things people don't know about, is she is actually ranged. Too far. So if you stand at a good distance, you can actually hit them from far away. See? Not in melee range. Trying to see the max distance. Alright, there we go. Not in melee range. So from this far away, you can see, it's kind of hard to. There's a little line, a green line. That's the distance of this ability. So, I think you guys already know where I'm going with this. This makes her beyond OP. Let me unlimited mana real quick. This makes her beyond OP. This ability is one of the most insane abilities in the game. And honestly, this is why I think she's really OP in solo lane, specifically. Her poke potential against every other tank is ridiculous. I mean, she beats every tank in that regard of just straight up poking, because she can outrange everyone, including Aurora. She can outrange Aurora. Now, she won't kill them with this ability. It's not going to do that immediately, especially until she gets at level 9. At level 9, it scales up to 11%. I'll max it for you. Or 6%, I mean. Or no, 11%. So it goes from 7 to 11. 7 to 11. So 11% of the target's max health. So you're doing quite a bit of damage. You're also recovering 6% health and mana. And you're doing that from afar, right? It is pretty insane. Now, this dumb test dummy has 10,000 HP, so you're not going to be doing 1102 damage. You're going to be doing, like, I don't know, like 120, 200-ish. But you are going to be slapping. The true damage that you do is just ludicrous. I think this ability needs a nerf. I think it's way too strong on people who build health. So Sevarog and anyone like that, just get even Rampage. I've shredded Rampages with my ult in this ability. It is absolutely amazing. Definitely too strong. I think the ranged poke is a wonderful. I love it. I just think it's a little unfair for the other tanks who have to sit there and like get poked out by a ranged, you know, tank. To be fair though, she also doesn't have an escape. So, but yep, that's her first ability. This ability is really strong. It's going to be your main damage ability. You're going to max it first. It is absolutely, you need to hit it. It is something you have to hit in the middle of battle though, so it is pretty hard. I do a lot of whipping, so no pun intended. I often miss it just by you know, kind of like thrusting my freaking, I don't know, just my directional keys in one way and then trying to move, kind of whip the mouse in another way. It's kind of high. It's a high skill ability. She's a high skill character, but it's an amazing ability if you can hit it, if you can actually solidly land the pokes, which is why I think they overtuned her, in my opinion, because she just has so many things that you have to hit to be, you know, prosper. And in the heat of, you know, battle, it's really difficult to hit these things. But if you hit them, you're rewarded greatly. Okay, let's go on to the next ability. The next one you're going to get is going to be your shield. Grants a hero a shield that absorbs 314 base damage. It scales up of magical damage, which you're not going to build, but 80% of magical damage, and the shield gradually depletes over 3 seconds. So it's a shield, gradually depletes, becomes slowed for by 20% until the shield lasts. Using the skill again, or using another skill immediately removes the shield. So it's a very long cooldown. It has a, at base level, 20-second cooldown. By the way, your Beautiful Sun has 11.5, I think, second cooldown at base, but at max level, it's 9 seconds. All right. Press the shield, it decays over 3 seconds. And then, press the shield and use an ability, it gets rid of the shield. So generally, you want to wait till your shield is gone, unless you're chasing somebody, and then you cast your ability. That's generally what I like to do. So, yep. It also slows you by 20%. So if you're autoing someone, and you're trying to stick to them, and they're not hitting you, don't pop your shield until you take damage. That's also a key thing. I think it's one of my biggest tips with her shield. Do not pop her shield until you're like taking significant damage. Don't just pop your shield randomly. I see a lot of people just go in and then instantly just press the shield. If you know you're going to take a lot of damage, that's one thing. Like if you're running up to an ADC. But if you're just chasing somebody, don't just pop your shield randomly. People keep doing that, and it's like, no. You kind of gauge when you're going to take damage. I know it's a really high skill ability as well. You just have to know. You only have 3 seconds of having the shield, and it decays over 3 seconds. But it's massive. It is pretty much your bread and butter. It's going to keep you alive, along with your slight heal. This is going to absolutely make you win these 1v1s that you're supposed to be fighting, especially against ADCs and mages. You're just going to absolutely tank everything they have to throw at you. It's really nice. It's just massive. At max level, which I believe happens at level 13, you're going to get 1,114 to block, the damage unless you have a magical power item, but generally this is going to be the max. The shield is massive. This also does work with Treya's ban, so if you guys are wondering, I think the shield goes to like 1400-ish. I don't know the math, you guys do the math, 30% of 1100, but it does work with Treya's ban, it does increase it. So it also, I think, increases your heal, I imagine, as well as your mana gain. So if you want to do that, there you go, Treya's ban tech. But the shield is going to be what you use generally when you go in. You know, you're going to have it, you're going to be able to pop it, and you're going to get a few autos in. Wait till it decays, then use your ability again. That is generally how you play here, and then there's another ability that goes into it as well as the grab, but that shield, like I said, is basically why she is disgustingly tanky. Don't waste it. Try and keep it as much as possible until you start taking heavy damage, or if you think you're about to take heavy damage, like you're looking straight at a mage and they turn around on you. You just gotta be very aware. Again, high skill character, high skill ability. All of her abilities are high skill, honestly. Every single one. Even her ultimate, which is probably her easiest ability to kind of manage. But the next ability, the hardest ability to hit, in my honest opinion, easily, is Let Me Hold You. I love these names, by the way. Your Beautiful Scent, it's supposed to hurt, and now we're on Let Me Hold You. Extends a whip in a straight line. Oops, I didn't mean to max that. Dealing magical damage equal to 4%, it's going to be less than that, of the target's max health for non-hero enemies. It deals up to 90 damage, it's 130, on minions, so you're not doing any damage because you're not going to even build magical, so don't worry about that. I think it scales up, but it says it does 130 base. It doesn't actually do 130. Unless 130 is nothing on minions. If the whip sword strikes an enemy hero, they are rooted for 1 second. So you do have a root. When you do this, they are rooted for 1 second. Super nice lockdown. Now, the cooldown is 7 seconds, which is absolutely absurd with no CDR. 7 seconds. 0 CDR. The hero then charges the target, dealing magical damage equal to 2% of the caster's max health to all enemies in the path. 2% of, like, you know, you're probably going to have like nearly 4,000 HP. It's not a lot, dude. You're literally not doing that much damage. You're doing like, what, like 40 or something like that? It's really low. 50? Or, sorry, 150. Something like that. I don't know, math. It's really low. You're not doing any damage with this ability. This ability is just for lockdown, which it should be. You have a root for 1 second. So when you're chasing somebody, this ability would be up with CDR constantly. Good ability. Very high skill. A tip for you is you actually can sprint, and then you can swing around like a cowgirl. But if you don't have it on insta-cast, which you have to take it off here, you can just swing it around. Just super nice. So there you go. A little tip for you. You could run and sprint with this, and then just boom. Super nice when you're chasing somebody. And if you need to kind of gauge where you're going and where you see, you do have a giant line to tell where it's going to end. But yep. That's, I mean, it's just really nice. You can be mobile while actually running with this. It's super, super nice. And honestly, I like this animation, so I just run around doing this anyways, but it does have a little delay, so if you throw it out and then you look a little bit to the left after pressing the button, it actually, you can actually kind of whiff it. So it's not on the initial press, it's like after. I'm pressing it. It doesn't look like it, but I'm pressing it beforehand. Press it, and then you move to the left a little bit, and it will whiff. It can whiff. A lot of times I'll throw it, and then I'll accidentally move while trying to throw it, and it just kind of messes up. So just know you can whiff it a little bit. Try to stand still when you're throwing it out, or like know where they're going. Or if you're trying to chase them and you completely whiff, try to whiff it towards the direction. So there you go. Little tip for you. Generally your rotation outside of your ultimate is going to be, you know, and then pop this when you need it. That's generally what you're going to do, especially against ADCs. And your dash is going to come back up a lot sooner, so you're going to be able to stick to your target pretty much infinitely. But yep, you can also just range poke. Don't use this for damage unless you think you can like get away. Like don't, for instance, if you're fighting a crunch, you're probably going to lose at least early on. Do not just dash it like this, because he will blow you up. Just hold your dash, and it also uses a lot of mana. It's only 40 actually, but the mana's mana. Do not just dash randomly, especially early game. Don't think you're tough and just gonna run into people. Even if you have your shield, they will destroy you without your shield, without your first item. You basically are playing for that first item, but once you get it, you're gonna be super huge. You can get a little bit crazy before you get the full first item, but you should be a little safe. So that's generally what you'll do with the dash. Now the next ability is going to be her ultimate. Summons a thorn bush in the caster's location, dealing true damage equal to 6% of the target's max health. So it scales off of their max health at 6% at max level. I think it's like 3 or 4% normally. And then it's also 15% of the target's bonus health. So the more health they build, the worse off they are in the ultimate. So it's a health shredding build. The enemies in range for 7 seconds. Decreases physical defense by 30% and magical defense by 30%. Absolutely absurd. So you're just shredding defenses by 30% just for them being in your ultimate. And slows by 60%. Slow effect gradually depletes over 2 seconds after escaping the Thorn bush. So they're slowed by 30 and they're still slowed after leaving it for 2 seconds. It's basically like mini Moda. Super nice, super convenient. For non-enemy heroes, deals up to 110 damage, of course, so you can't just max clear a wave by ulting, which I think is kind of dumb, but whatever. I think the cap should be higher. So this is what it looks like. There you go. That's the ultimate. Got an instant cast. It's wherever you are. It's the center of wherever you are. Can't do anything during it. You can be stunned out of it, but obviously you won't cancel it permanently, but it won't go off, but you can be stunned out of that. So I've been killed by getting stunned out of it multiple times, so it does suck. Try to generally you want to get behind your enemy. Usually in a team fight you can also just blink. Actually they give me, so let me try to blink and then you can ult behind them. That's what I like to do, but you also want them to be in the center of it. What you should do though is when you do go in and you do get the ult off, try your best to make sure your grab is up. It probably will be up, so you can root them in it, because that root will make them take an extra tick of damage, maybe even a couple of extra ticks of damage, and it is super nice just keeping that pressure on them. So the slows don't stack, so don't think, oh, I'm gonna build a bunch of slow items. They don't stack, so yeah, like you can't just like build, I don't know, Decima Cannon or Mini Moda, whatever you want to build, and expect it to just completely slow your enemy. Just literally build like normal tank, whatever it is going to be, and slow is going to take effect by itself. 60% is massive. It is very, very annoying to get out of, especially as like an ADC, especially if you're putting it behind them. In the jungle and orb fights, she's obviously the queen of those fights. Pairs really well with anyone who can stun. And her One-Chan Aurora is a great pairing for her if you can actually pull it off. Jungle Aurora, you know, or jungle Adele solo Aurora, because you freeze them and then you ult them and it's just absolute death. I have not tried that combo yet, even though I've played her so much. Unfortunately, no one's playing Aurora. Please play Aurora with my Adele. I will go jungle and prosper. So there you go. That's it. That's her kit. It's absolutely disgusting. Obviously, the theme here is she's a tank shredder, and she does her job well. You can see in the video earlier where I was shooting tanks. Hopefully, I'm going to put some at the end of the video. I don't know yet. I'm tired, sorry. But she is disgusting. I've been having a blast playing her. I mean, she just runs through tanks like no problem. And she's pretty decent against ADCs if you just know how to play. You do have to be careful, but you are extremely tanky, even with the build. Now, we will go over some techs, and I'll talk about some tips with her a little bit later. But before that, let me show you the part of the build that I would do with her is the Marauder's Watch. I'll actually do a full build demonstration so you guys know, but I'll go over with you guys on the site as well, so you guys kind of understand where we're going with what we want to do with her basically. But here I just want to kind of give you a little bit of tips on how to play her effectively, at least at first item. So at level 9 your ability will be maxed. Your main ability is 8.1 seconds. Use this. You're gonna have Marauder's Watch. Why are you building Marauder's Watch first? Well, it increases your attack speed, and it also, every single hit is a 0.5 second cooldown reduction. It's probably gonna get nerfed. And this is also, by the way, guys, the builds are only for when the video is recorded. They could change completely later on, so do not expect these builds to be the exact same. If you're watching this like 3 months down the line, it could be completely different. It might not be, this item might not even be in the game. But for this guide, for the purpose, right now, one really broken tech on Adele is getting Marauder's Watch. Now, why is Marauder's Watch really broken? Well, this is 10% CDR Adele. 10%. You grab, I'm gonna use this, and then pop the shield. We get the grab back. And we have our ability again. Now, if you don't know, you're probably going to be in solo, and you're probably going to be fighting a tank. Despite them having defense, you're shredding 11% of their HP every single time you hit this ability. Every single time. So between your grab, which also scales off of your and their health, plus your ability, and then your ultimate, which also scales to 6% of the target's max health plus 15% of the target's bonus health. So any health they build is going to hit them for 15%, which is actually absurd. True damage. You are going to slap. You do so much damage, and your cooldowns come back extremely fast, including your ultimate. So every time basically you want to ult, it's going to be in a team fight. There's been times where I just ulted and I just go to hit a wave, you know, I start hitting waves and stuff, trying to just, you know, get the cooldowns. Obviously you can see cooldown is ticking down much faster than they would. And again, this is just with one item. Now, you're not going to do any more damage than this. This is the only damage item you want. But let me show you with full CDR kind of what she looks like, because it's pretty nasty. It is really bad. So this is 40% CDR, Adele. Generally, this is what you're doing there. Yeah. I mean, I mean it when you're shredding tanks with this build. It is disgusting. Once you get to that 40%. And your mana sustain too. Remember, you heal as well as your mana and your health when you hit this. And even your shield is on a 12-second cooldown when you get your max CDR. I mean, it comes up very fast. Which is another key thing, by the way. Your shield resets. It doesn't take that long. And you're just kind of just jumping around like crazy, and you will endlessly chase the carry. This is what I've been doing to kind of dominate my game. Marauders Watch first item, honestly, is a must-have, or second item. First or second, but you want this item. If you're not comfortable playing Adele, you can go full tank, but I just want to say, having this as a, just in general, is insane. I mean, it is disgusting on her. I think they're going to nerf the item, but as of the recording of the video, it is not nerfed, so abuse it. You will be able to spam shields off cooldown, spam your dash off cooldown, spam your tank shredding ability off cooldown. And again, the tank, it's still 11% of the carry's HP as well, so you're still doing a decent amount of damage. And then you have your zimmies and everything. So yeah, let me just kind of show you a preview with the build that I'm kind of working with, in my honest opinion. This is not an order. I'll show you the order on the site, but this is generally what you would do for Adele. If you don't need tenacity. If you need tenacity, you probably need to change something out, maybe pendant with something else. This is what I like to do. Pendant's really good on her too, because you can get the burst off as soon as it's off cooldown pretty often. It's slow and helps do damage, so it's nice. So yeah, this is generally what you're looking at here. And you're doing like a 45 damage tick. You have 3,600 HP. This is, again, generally the build. But I mean, it's just amazing. It's so much fun. It's so chaotic. And that's kind of her identity, but you're just constantly whipping through the battlefield. You have to actually know how to aim. If you miss it, it feels really bad, but again, it's also on a 4.2 second cooldown, and if you auto attack, even less. So if you miss, it doesn't even feel that bad. You get it back. See, it's disgusting. It is actually disgusting. Abuse it, guys. Again, this is the guide for Adele. I promise you, you will have at least some success. Like I said, if you do it first item against pretty much any tank, it's worth it. But if you're fighting a damage dealer that's not a warrior or a tank, if you're fighting like an ADC or a mage, you probably want to go defense for them first. So pendant or swamp cloak or whatever you want first for mages, and then for physical, you probably want to go Zimia's Toy. Definitely want to go Zimia's Toy for any physical. And if you're not comfortable playing with Marauders Watch first item because you think you're not that good or you can't hit the ability, just go full tank. Just go Zimia's. You can go Marauders second, but if you're not comfortable with it first item, I feel like you probably either leave it for last or just don't get it at all. But first or second item, even in the jungle, by the way, Marauders Watch is definitely really good because it helps you get the ganks off better. And if you're fighting a tank jungle, you're pretty much just going to guarantee your win, considering you have your shield and then you also have the resets as long as you keep your autos on them. And you have endless lockdown. So that's my tip for you. Now, in lane, one of the key things is make sure in solo lane, and even if you play like a support Adele or a mid Adele, whatever it is, just range poke. Literally just range poke. I mean, you have a large range to do with that, literally like from here. Do not get close to your opponent if you can't beat them, for sure. Like if you're fighting a Crunch or like a Kwong or something, do not get close to, or any warrior at all you will lose to. Maybe not Fangmouth. Well, no, still Fangmouth. Do not get close to them. Just range poke them. Literally just range poke them. You can move while you do it, so you can do this. Don't worry about hitting the first two hits. The first two hits do 45 damage each. They don't scale up. They get reduced by their magical defense. Do not worry about the first hit. Literally ignore that. But as long as you get the last hit, I missed it. As long as you get the last hit, that's all that matters. Oh my god, I'm not close enough. That last hit is literally all that matters. It is a ranged poke, and you can keep your distance from the tank, and you will absolutely dominate. That's my first, most important tip in my opinion. Just focus on that. Another tip is play safe against like warriors and rangers, obviously, like I said. Don't step out too much. Don't auto trade either without your shield. If you can't have your shield up, there's really no reason, in my opinion, to just sit there and not or just an auto attack, because you're just going to take too much damage. You basically want your shield up at all times if you're engaging heavy or taking heavy engages. But if you don't have a choice, obviously you have to auto. But if for the most part, if you can avoid taking damage and you can just wait for your shield to come back up, then just wait. Late game, you're not gonna have to worry about it as much because you're gonna be resetting it, as well as when you get, at least wait until you get Marauder's Watch before you start auto trading. I think this is when you can kind of start doing it. You still kind of lose until you get your first defense item, but if you go Marauder's Watch first item, then just wait till you reset your shield and also your abilities, because you'll be shredding whoever you're fighting. It doesn't even matter who it is for the most part, unless it's an ADC, they go tank. But like I said, just kind of focus on not auto trading at all until you get your first item. It's just not worth it. And then also just dive the back line, literally. Just dive the back line. Don't go for a tank just because you can try to tank. Like, you can hit them from afar, but worry about the ADC. If the ADC is in your range or in your pull or anywhere near you, go for them. Do not just sit there and hit a tank because you shred tanks. It is not worth it. I promise you. Unless you're a support and you're trying to help the back line, which you're probably not going to be. If you're going to be solo lane, go for the ADC and the mage. There's zero reason as to why you should sit there hitting a tank. It is not worth it. You shred them, but your service will be much better in the face of an ADC who's trying to run away from you, who's going to blink away, and you can just whip onto them a million times and root them. It'll be way more worth it if you focus them, and you can solo them. You really can, as long as your build is okay. Also, you know, if you have this, you pop this, and they do 0 damage to you. But anyways, and the last actually tip would be bait them into your ultimate. So when they run into you, make sure that you're if you're low, you know, I'd say wait till you're half and then press your ultimate if you need to. But if you're getting 2v1 and they dive you and they use their dashes into you, just press your ultimate immediately and then root them, and pop your shield. Don't be afraid to kind of fight them a little bit. I've taken so many 2v1s with her, it's ridiculous, like so many, and people have been shocked, right? Like, it's just, you get dove, you press your ultimate. Now if you're fighting another Adele, obviously you're probably gonna die, but if you're fighting like normal tanks and you're in like comp or something, just wait for them to dive you and then use your ultimate. Try your best not to just use it because you want damage. I always say save it, because when you're low, they'll get desperate and try to kill you. And then you'll have and especially if your team is around you and they just decide to all in you or dive you, if they're like melee or even somewhat rangers, you know, you wait kind of until you're like half or something, or not even when you're half, just wait till they're all diving you, and then you press it, and then you pop your shield, you're negating a lot of damage, and they're just getting ticked, and then you root them, and you're fighting, and you're using your abilities, and it's disgusting. I mean, it's a whole mind game with Adele. Like I said, she's a very high skill cap character. You're gonna learn how to take advantage of her abilities and situations. It's gonna be hard. She's a tough character, but I promise you, honestly, I think she's broken. I think she's really broken. I think her scaling is too high. I think they need to nerf her scaling. I think it needs to balance it out towards ADCs a little bit more and mages, because she does struggle a little bit more with those, but she still does a really good job against them as a tank. She just shreds them. Like, I've done anywhere upwards of 50 to 60k in the span of 35 to 40 minutes. I'll do like 50, 55k in like these high intense octane matches. It is absurd. She does a disgusting amount of damage for a tank. There are some tanks that do a lot of damage like Greystone, but she quite literally trumps them in damage because her scaling is just that high. So if you want to take that as damage, she's the girl, but she's very high skill cap, but she's so much fun. That's pretty much it for my tips. I don't know if I have anything else for you. That's this is the build generally I use. I'm going to show you the build on the website, but generally this is how you play her. This is how I like to play her anyways. Definitely with Marauder's Watch, but I'll show you a build that's full defense as well if you just don't feel comfortable with the item. But yep, let's go right to the build part of the video. All right, so Adele with her build here. First, you're going to go your beautiful scent because it's strongest ability. The next ability you're going to upgrade is going to be your shield. I actually like to get for the third upgrade, I actually like to go with the beautiful scent. You don't really need your dash early on. You're just not going to chase them unless they're low. If they're low, obviously chase them, or if you're in the jungle. So if you're in the jungle, to get this third, but if you're not in the jungle, if you're in solo, then get it fourth. I think it's just not worth it. I mean, just get the extra scaling early on. It does help you a little bit, but it's not really that important. But I'd say just this, you're not going to be chasing at level 3. I promise you. There's no reason why you should be. You're not going to have the damage to like just chase someone down freely. But and then you obviously get this level 9. You max this. Super fast, super easy. And then your next ability you're going to max is going to be your shield. Max your ult at 6, 11, 16, of course. And then your grab is the least wanted ability in terms of maxing. There you go. So the builds, obviously, is what I showed you for. It's going to be Marauder's Watch. It's going to be Zymia's Toy next. Berserker's Helm third. If you want to go Pendant third, you can. You can switch these two, but generally this is what you want to do. Berserker's Helm, I only do that if the ADC is a problem, or if you really, really just want to go the dual defense route instead of just going the straight magical route, if they're not really that much of a problem. I'd say do Berserker's Helm if the mage isn't much of a problem at the moment. Third, but if they are, then go Pendant, because you're going to get a lot more defenses from that. But I think this is better because you also counter the ADCs as well as the enemy jungler who's auto attacker, probably unless it's Shinbi or Countess, but generally it's probably going to be like an auto attacker-ish character aside from Zena. So this will help. It'll slow them too. Pendant fourth or third, and then you get your Zinx Claw barrier. I think this is always a must-have in my honest opinion. And then you get a status item. You can also replace this with another physical or another magical defense item, but you can go scissors. If you want full CDR though, this is generally what you're gonna have to do. But yeah, this is what it is. This is what I like. It's weird, it doesn't have CDR on it. I thought it did, but I guess not. But yep, this is the Marauder's Watch build. This is the build that I've been using pretty much exclusively. I was using full tank when I first started playing her, but honestly, Marauder's Watch is just too good to pass up. Now, if you do want to be a full tank, Zymia's and Pendant second for the extra, just the damage procs, because you're not going to be resetting your Marauders, so you kind of want this early, because this is the most damage you can get. Then you go Berserker's Helm third for the dual defense to kind of stack it up. You go your Reflection fourth, so you're at 20% CDR, and you get your fourth item, you get Reflection 30, and then you're at 30% with your fifth item, and then you're at 40% with your last item. This is more of an anti-tank build. If you don't want artificial gravity, just get something else, a physical item with 10% CDR, like the Mana one. I just like this. If you jump on the carry and the dash on the carry, which you will be, pop this, and they just are useless pretty much for a little bit. So there you go. Those are the only two builds I recommend. There is a support build I'm kind of testing and everything, just in case you want to play her support. I do think she's probably the best melee support. Fuck you, Narbash. Really good in Narbash, by the way. He can't move, so you just kind of and he dashes only, so you just kind of root him and run him down. But anyways, this is the build. These are the two builds that I'm kind of working with. Honestly, the things that matter the most are going to be Zymia's, Pendant, and Berserker's Helm. You can kind of replace anything else. If you don't really want Reflection, you don't need it, but I just love going Reflection. I think it's really, really, really good, especially with your shield. I'm pretty sure you just reflect it. It also is anti-heal, which is super nice. You don't really need tenacity, but if you want it, there you go. If you want to go more physical or magical, whatever it is. But there's other good items. Honestly, there's no guaranteed build for Adele for me personally. There's not like, oh, I like this first build, it's what I'm working with, but there might be a better build out there. I don't know. You can also get health regen from the one item. I'd probably do that last, not early. I don't think building that item early is that great, but if you want to, there you go for sustain, the nano machines. Yeah, that's generally it. And then obviously your karmas are going to be blink, and for me, I usually like to go heal. But if you want, the other karma I would probably grab would be purge. If you don't want purge, go heal. It's gonna help you early game. So there you go. That is it for the build portion of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this guide. I'll show a little bit of Adele gameplay here. I've been having a blast, man. I'm telling you, this character, it does a lot. The more I played her, the more I realized kind of how broken she was. I didn't think she was that good, honestly, when I first played her in a couple of first matches. But I think after like the 5th or 6th match I played her, I'm like, okay, this character is kind of nuts if I hit everything, because I was missing everything. I was not used to her. I had to change my controls, I had to change my inputs. But once I got the hang of her, I realized how insane she actually is. Her pressure is nuts. Her scaling is nuts. Her defense is nuts because of her shield just being up constantly. Her ultimate is absolutely insane in terms of team fighting. I mean, she is quite literally, even against ADCs, it's just insane. I mean, she just pressures them, roots them, sets up for her team extremely well. And there's so many times where I have like 5 people on me and I'm just shredding them because they're all just running at me. And it's so much fun watching their health just tank. And then at the end of the game, you see you did 60k because the whole enemy team decided to run at you. It's insane. I love playing her. She's a really good 2v1er if you want that. She's really good into tanks. This whole tank jungle meta is insane. So she's just kind of breaking that mold, and she's super easy to kind of just like shred through those tanks. Super nice. Love it, love it, love it. I don't know. Like I said, I love this character. I've been waiting for her. Obviously, I'm biased. She's my wife. But I have to say she's pretty broken. I can't pretend she's not. Her scaling is just out of control. So I don't know where I'd place her in the tier list. Like, I don't know if she's better than Aurora or Shinbi or whatever, but she does quite a bit for the team. and she negates so much damage. I do like this character quite a bit. So yeah, anyways, that's it for the video. That's it for the guide. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys found some useful tips in the video. I know I was rambling a lot. Sorry, I am so tired. It's like 12 o'clock and I've been streaming for like 10 hours. So I apologize, but I hope you guys found useful information. I love this character. I'm going to be maining her. She is my #1. I know you guys have seen so many Sarah videos. You're going to see a shit ton of Adele videos, I promise you. It's just, she's so much fun. I'm glad you can kind of play her in like a damage way because she does so much damage, but at the same time, you're full tank. It feels just amazing to play. It's like Greystone to an extent, but just without the resurrection. So, and you actually shred tanks in like 2 seconds. Yeah, anyways, that's it for me, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.